I recommend we could go for something like this.
Welcome back to Sochi. We're about to be joining the action down in the pit lane as the cars get ready to embark on their qualifying runs. This is the kind of track that eats rear tyres for breakfast, or so I'm told by more experienced drivers than myself.
Lots of low-speed exits means the rears are in for a lot of punishment. It's all too easy to spin them up coming out of a corner too aggressively. It might look great for us as spectators, as we love to see a car driven beyond its limits, but it's not going to result in a great long-run pace.
best lap so far is a 1:35.8. We're 13th in the speed trap, 204.8. There's only a few cars out on track. We should consider getting out there. 2 laps of fuel remaining. P2. You're currently in second place.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three. Bottas, Albon and Smith. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Bad luck in qualifying. That's not exactly ideal. But there's no points for Saturday. Keep a cool head and make up for it in the race.
Good afternoon from Sochi as we prepare to get underway for the Russian Grand Prix. The championship battle has some time to go yet, but still expect no quarter to be given here on this circuit that made its debut in 2014 and has already seen some classic racing. Situated just 3 miles from the Georgian border, the 3.6-mile Sochi Autodrome has two notable overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and then turn 13. 18 corners in total here, 12 to the right and 6 to the left, and it's an average lap speed of around 130 miles per hour. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, the surface looks clean enough, but I'm a little bit worried about the track temperature. It's pretty cool out there, which could give some teams difficulties when it comes to keeping their tyres in the right operating window. The cars out there that work their tyres hard and really put a lot of energy through them, they'll be the ones that are better off.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, just edging out Alexander Albon, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Smith, Perez, Devon Butler and Hülkenberg, Leclerc, Kvyat, Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel, Hamilton, Verstappen, Lucas Faber and Stroll, Ricciardo. They've taken a grid penalty. Norris, Kevin Magnussen and Carlos Sainz. Grosjean and George Russell ends our grid lineup. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
You should have some space going into the first corner, so try to keep it tidy. Any technical issues coming off the practice start? Watch the RPM on full start. We don't want to bog down. Stable at the moment. No rain currently expected. Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid has formed. Be ready with the clutch. DRS now for the rest of the race. DRS is now enabled and will be available to use when you are within 1 second of the car ahead in the DRS zone. Second place. You're in second place. Valtteri is ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 3.6 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Perez is behind you. Okay, the gap behind is 2.0 seconds. Your pit window opens in 8 laps time. You have 25 laps to go. Tyres for a while. The wear doesn't seem too bad at the moment. Just take care when you load them up. Behind us is 3.9 seconds. They're on old softs. Their tyres are 3 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1 minute 41.2. second a lap. Valtteri ahead, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 5 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1:38.8. We're gaining by around 0.2 per lap. seconds. They're on old softs. Their tyres are 6 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1 minute 40.3. points. Their tyres are 8 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1:39.2. You're closing by 0.4 per lap. Okay, you're in the top 10. Now, one stop left, your pit window opens next lap. Fuel target is +2. Let's move to mix 2 or 3, please. Exit now. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. seconds. Their tyres are 11 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1 minute 40.0. Valtteri is in the pits. Target is +1. Faster engine modes are available. Harvesting, reduce ERS deployment. Our gap behind is 3.3 seconds. They're on fresh hards. The time last lap was a 1:59.4. is 4.9 seconds. They're on fresh hards. Their tyres are 4 laps old. The time last lap was a 1 minute 38.7. Valtteri behind you. The gap behind us is 4.7 seconds. They're on fresh hards. The time last lap was a 1:38.7. Gap to teammate behind is 4.9 seconds. This lap of the race. Keep this up. first position, front of the pack. That's Valtteri behind. The gap to the car behind is 7.5 seconds. They're on fresh hards. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. 8 laps to go. Pack P1. Valtteri behind you. Our gap behind is 7.2 seconds. They're on fresh hards. The time last lap was a 1 minute 39.2. Teammate by 7.0 seconds. Valtteri behind. Okay, the gap behind is 6.9 seconds. They're on fresh hards. Their tyres are 9 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:38.6. gap behind us is 6.7 seconds. They're on old hards. Their tyres are 10 laps old. The time last lap was a 1 minute 38.5. There's 4 laps of fuel remaining. That's Valtteri behind. The gap to the car behind is 5.6 seconds. They're on old hards. Their tyres are 12 laps old. Their time last lap was a 1:38.2. Battery charge is low. If we turn down the ERS deployment, we can harvest more energy. Valtteri behind you. Our gap behind is 6.8 seconds. They're on old hards. Their tyres are 13 laps old. The time last lap was a 1 minute 38.1. We've only got 2 laps of fuel left. Final lap of the race. Gap to teammate behind is 7.1 seconds. Fantastic! You've won the Grand Prix.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I have to say Sebastian Vettel certainly caught my eye during today's race. Incredible driving.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula 1.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. How are you feeling after that win? Things are looking up after last week, aren't they? That was an epic battle today. How do you think this will play out? Great. Well, that's everything.
Fantastic podium. Well done. Keep pushing like this for the rest of the season. Looks like one of your rivals is also going to an upcoming historical event. If you choose to take him on, it might help get your name out there a bit. They didn't like those turns. Let's try again. We're asking for too much here. We need to make some compromises. Our proposal has been accepted. The new contract will take effect from the next race weekend.
What do you think of this one?
fading to dominate.